Hello, everyone. We're Jacqueline and Melvin Landry, and we welcome you to our podcast, Get Diversified. Throughout these series, we'll cover all the topics and questions you have about investing in apartment buildings, storage facilities, and mobile home parks. Being knowledgeable in these areas will help you feel more comfortable about investing. Apartment investing equals building wealth. Building wealth equals financial freedom. Achieving financial freedom allows you to spend your time with building memories with your loved ones. Let's face it, time is the one element in life that is limited, and you don't want to waste it.
Trying a couple different things and then finding what you really are naturally gifted at, as well as, God forbid, enjoying that part of the job, right? So I do think people need to give themselves some space to explore and really find what fuels them. Otherwise, why would you want to do it all day, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no pressure to know it on day one, that's for sure.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Get Diversified. We are here again, continuing our Power Couple series. And today, folks, we have a dandy. We have the Winkles, Dwayne and Ashley, who will be joining us today on the show. Folks, welcome. How we doing?
We're awesome.
Doing
Thanks
good.
so much for having us.
Thanks. So, guys, we've been watching you all. You all have been movers and shakers in the multifamily space. We're in the same mastermind. So as they say, proximity is power. And hey, we're happy to know you guys and looking forward to speaking with you all as part of our show today. Okay.
Yeah, us too. Thank you.
All right, good. Say, hey, to kickstart things off, why don't you share with the listeners, the viewers, tell us about who is Ashley, who is Dwayne, and tell us a little bit about your story.
Sure, absolutely. Well, we are both born Midwesterners. I'm from Kansas. Dwayne's from Missouri.
Okay.
So we met and fell in love in Kansas City, where the two states meet, which is actually quite perfect. We lived there for 10 years before moving out here to Phoenix. Okay. And, I don't know that we ever really envisioned that we would be working together or working side by side to build a business together. Okay. So it's kind of funny where the road leads. But here we are. We started playing around in the real estate space about, 7, 8 years ago, and have found our way to multifamily. And here we are building Winkle Capital, and it's been a really incredible journey.
Okay.
And my background is marketing and advertising. So I spent 20 years in the advertising industry. Dwayne, you want to talk a little bit about your journey?
I have a background in concerts and production. So I was doing the concert industry for a long time and then transitioned into technology. So I lead software development teams at a big Fortune 500 today and also invest in real estate. Yeah.
I fell in love with a roadie. What can I say?
It's true. At a show.
That's awesome. So you were, what do they call it? A groupie? Like a groupie?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
He had a motorcycle. He checked all the boxes.
I used to be
cool.
So even today, and you're driving in multifamily and you both still work, correct?
Yes,
Correct.
we do.
Yeah, okay.
For now.
Okay. There you go.
So before we get on to for now, I'd love to come back to that. Like, what is your plan? What's your exit strategy from, your 9 to 5? But I'd like to go back to something that you said earlier. You say you've been doing real estate for 7 years. What kind of real estate did you start doing?
We started in fix and flips, actually. Okay. When we moved to Phoenix, we moved from the Midwest. So the real estate prices were a bit shocking to us when we came from the Midwest. And we just found ourselves looking around going, well, gosh, how can we grow our nest egg? We came from Kansas City with a little bit that we had saved and a little bit that we had earned from selling our home. Mm-hmm. And we said, gosh, how can we grow this into something more? And we started looking for ways to grow what we had. And every direction we went, we kept seeing real estate as a popular theme. I don't think we really had any idea what we were getting ourselves into.
No.
But I think we both felt like, well, gosh, how hard can it be, right?
They do it on TV all the time, right?
Right.
Way too many HGTV shows.
Yeah.
And I don't know. We just kind of both felt like Dwayne's very handy. He's great with tools. I am more of like the creative visionary. I love design. And so we felt like between the two of us, let's start flipping some houses. So that's really where we started. We would live in the house while we flipped it.
Oh, okay.
Which was a special experience. And that's really where we started. We just took the leap.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
Good stuff. And so what took you from flip and fix
Fix and flip
to multifamily?
Well, yeah, as we were going, it was, it's a challenge to like live in the property itself and do all the construction and then move the bed from the master bedroom to the spare bedroom and then be able to put the carpet down. So then we moved into an apartment. We have a small apartment in Scottsdale, Arizona. And we were flipping houses on the side. Mm-hmm. So kind of, we would go out to our properties. And that
felt like graduating at the time. We were like, we don't have to live in the flip. We're moving up in the world.
Yeah. And we tried to scale, right? And that's the next piece is like, how many of these can we do at the same time? And really, we're looking for construction crews and like financing to figure out how many loans you can get at the same time. And that really
contractors that we could partner with, maybe wanted to build a business together.
Yep. And that really led to figuring out scale and looking at scaling in real estate together. And those really resulted in multifamily. That's where you find like this scale really makes a lot of sense. So instead of buying one house at a time, you can have 10 houses, 20 houses, 100 units all under one roof. And that was really what led us to the multifamily sector. So, and then the understanding of the business aspect of multifamily just was a complete light bulb moment for us. You didn't have to worry about the after rehab value. When you bought a house, you're like, how much is this going to be worth? And you're like, I don't know. What sold lately? Right? Like, what's the area doing? How fast can we flip this property? There's a lot of risk involved with that. Whereas when you buy a apartment building, there's less risk because you already know the business plan. And that's something that really suited our risk tolerance when we were looking at investments.
Got it. So you were doing the fix and flip for what, 3-4 years?
We did it for like 4 years. Yeah.
4 years. And are you still doing that now? Or are you solely doing multifamily?
We're completely on multifamily right now. We would be interested in a couple like smaller projects for single family potentially, but that's not our main focus right now. If something came our way, we would definitely take a look at it, but multifamily is our main focus.
Got it. So one of the things that Melvin and I are focusing on this year is last year we got involved in 11 apartment deals, right?
Congrats.
So quite a bit. Awesome. We threw all of our money, any 401k money that we had, and we said, let's get into this. Let's delve ourselves into as many deals as we can. Yeah. And so this year we're like, where's the cash flow? Right? Yeah. So we realize, I think we already knew that, but we realized that these quarterly distributions or monthly distributions isn't really even going to be enough to pay for your Costco bill. Right. And that's not why people get into multifamily, right? It's the appreciation and the value add that gets done. And then 3 to 5 years later is going to be it. So what do you guys do for cash flow? Or is your job really kind of what's supporting multifamily?
Honestly, that's why we haven't left our full-time jobs. And, for us, we look at investing in multifamily. It's a cycle, right? Like you have to have the capital to invest in order to make the capital that fuels kind of that passive income lifestyle. And so what we're really focused on is, well, then how do we make more capital? How do we make more money? So we work our W-2s, and we're both also focused on, building other businesses, and we're passionately exploring partnerships with other people in our lives that also have that desire to build a business. Yeah. And so we've got a couple irons in the fire. Dwayne's a big fan of always having lots of options. And then we just, that way you've got choices. You can pivot a couple different things in the works at all times. So
awesome. So is that like
W-2s at the moment?
Yeah, I would say that's the main thing that we've learned through this process is that you don't have to quit your job. Mm-hmm. You can still invest. I think there's two different ways. You can go all in on real estate. You guys have gone all in. You can get a second job where you're flipping the house and you're out there painting in the middle of July because you need to get it done and you need to get this thing listed and back on the market, right? Like that's just part of it. You're actually getting a second job. But when you're a true passive investor or even a general partner, you can invest in these deals and still keep your job because that it is such a long life cycle, like Ashley talked about. It's 3 to 5 years before you're going to really see and reap the rewards. So we love our jobs and we help other people in our industries that have jobs really understand they can invest with their 401k and they can do other options, so they can still get into real estate investing, but they don't have to leave. You don't have to leave your job.
Awesome. So that's pretty similar to what we're doing. That's kind of our avatar for like getting investors, folks that are working in corporate America in the project management side or customer success or change management. And my husband's in procurement, supply chain, as well as professors, right? So we're preaching the passive income so that people can really understand the benefits, the tax benefits alone, right? Can actually be just worthwhile on its own, regardless of how it performs in 3 to 5 years, right?
Right.
Just because you're getting all of that upfront bonus depreciation, which will reduce your taxable income.
Absolutely. So, there's still tremendous benefits to be had, even if the cash flow isn't there.
Yep.
And
totally aligned with you on the notion of, hey, I mean, your W-2, right? That helps fuel, right? Getting into additional other investments. So, and that's what we're leveraging now. My many jobs, kind of putting it into continually to build, right? So, you get in what you get out what you put into it, right? So at the end of the day,
I really do.
But continuously improving. So
got it. So how do you have a specific role that you play in a multifamily, like such as syndicator, or you're underwriter, or you're the just the different roles? What are you guys good at, and how what kind of role you're playing?
And I guess in other words, do you divide and conquer, or do you kind of maintain on the same
you don't
role?
Want me doing your underwriting.
Okay.
That's not
math.
Not my
math is
set.
not Ashley's favorite thing. So that's
okay.
I love to know the market. I love underwriting. So we really focus exclusively on Arizona. We have deals in other states where we've partnered with people and we bring capital. So we're capital raisers as well. I believe everybody on the team needs to know how to capital raise.
Yeah.
So we've partnered with people on our current existing deals to capital raise, but currently we're focused on underwriting in Arizona. And then Ashley helps a lot with the brand assets and the marketing. And we also have an education platform because we're trying to educate people about the power of multifamily. Like we were both talking, we understand it. It's just explaining it to somebody else. You're like, what is a syndication? This seems weird. There's no way I can buy that apartment building down the street. And you're like, oh, well, yeah, you can buy a little sliver of it and get some money back and save for a college retirement fund or whatever you want to, right? So there's possibilities there. So Ashley really helps on the events and marketing angle because that's what she does normally. So she gets to come home and work our job as a second job.
That's right. All our emails, newsletters, all of our branding, our website, all of those pieces are things that I support with.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
I guess I need to step my game up, honey.
Hey, listen.
So I just quit my job in October, and so I'm doing a lot of the underwriting and all that good stuff, and then trying to work with our VAs on newsletters, and that just takes a lot of time until they become like a well-oiled machine, right? Yeah. And even then, you still need to provide your personal touch, so it's not just you hand it over and then they take care of it. So that's something that we're realizing just doesn't happen, right? Where you can hand something over to somebody and them do it the way that you want them to do it. Yeah, so I'm the underwriter. He's more of the investor relations, syndicator kind of guy.
Yeah, well, trying to work multiple jobs, but you just get it done, right? So that
did it take you guys a while to figure out like what your unique skill sets were and kind of how you wanted to divide and conquer?
It did, and I would say probably 10 months or so, almost a year for us to decide. Yeah, I think you should focus on this. And occasionally I need to remind him that I'm doing like a certain thing and trying to stay in my lane, and he's kind of making me swerve over into the next one. But I think we kind of found it. And while we still want to learn from each other, like he's like, tell me about this underwriting. Tell me about this. He does need to know, right? Because when he's talking to people, he needs to be able to explain it
articulate,
as do I. Right. But it's again, who's the one who's going to get into the nitty gritty and understand every little detail of that underwriting tool as an example.
Enjoy that part.
Yeah. And you have, and it doesn't come, everybody goes, oh, pick your role. And you go, okay, I'm going to pick asset management, right? Not knowing what it means, what time is involved and all that. Cause you don't really know what any of these roles mean until you get into it and start doing it.
Yeah.
That's such a good nugget. I feel like people need to give themselves a bit of grace as it relates to, trying a couple different things and then finding what you really are naturally gifted at, as well as, God forbid, enjoying that part of the job, right? So I do think people need to give themselves some space to explore and really find what fuels them. Otherwise, why would you want to do it all day, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no pressure to know it on day one. That's for sure.
So from a business, so that you all work together after your regular jobs, how do you find time for yourselves?
That's a really good question. We struggle with that. How do
we do that?
We struggle with that a little bit. We try and make really intentional decisions about when we're spending time and where we're spending time. So I know we're both in a mastermind together, right? And when we go and we'll be in California or we're in Hawaii or in Mexico, we potentially get there extra. We get there a day or two early. And that way we can be together and we can have our own vacation and we can go make sure that when we have those gaps within our schedules, that we're actually being intentional. And we went on a horseback ride on the beach on Valentine's Day.
Fun.
But it was in Mexico because we were already there for a work event, right? So it's a little bit separate. And yes, it's tax deferred, right? So you can write that off on your taxes. But that's the fun stuff, is like if you can build the business around a really fun, exciting life, then it doesn't feel as much like work. It's still a challenge for sure. I mean, we definitely have those days where we're like, putting in some more hours on the side business for sure. But we try and be intentional with it, right? When we're doing like workouts, Ashley will ride a bike while I run, we're kind of like spending time together that's not specifically on real estate. So we try and do a lot of things together.
But listen, I'll be real, it's hard. Like we are still early in our journey. I think it's still something that we're trying to navigate. And it does feel like 90% of our time together is spent working on the business. Mm-hmm. And I would like it to be different, but also, that's just the season that we're in right now. So I think too, we're trying to, look at the long game and say we're putting in the time now, we're putting in the hustle now. But there will be a day that will come where it is a little bit more balanced and maybe where we can enjoy our freedom a little bit more. But for now, the hustle is on. So that's just what we got to do.
It's the one Dave Ramsey quote that I like is live like nobody else today so you can live like nobody else later. Not about saving, but like it's about
whenever we're missing out on get-togethers or trips or our friends are going to a happy hour and we're not going, and you can start to feel a little bit bad for yourself that you're missing out on things. But we try to remind ourselves like, no, we're making choices. Intentionally.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point.
We we have an 8-year-old. So he's like, Mommy and Daddy, can you please stop talking about real estate all the time? And I'm like, well, that's our jobs, right? You got to kind of say it that way, right? I was like, that's our jobs now. And so we do need to talk about this. Well, can you just not talk about it for like an hour in the car? Because we just find ourselves, because we're so excited about it and immersed in it, that we just talk about it a lot. And, occasionally I make him turn it off.
Yeah.
So I just go, turn it off.
Yeah.
And then 5 minutes later, I go, did you hear about that Brookside one?
Yeah.
Did you hear about that Brookside thing?
It's like you were talking about having like a little hand signal or something where you can be like, okay, babe, like it's time, I think those moments where you can catch each other. But I'm very curious as parents. I mean, we're lucky we don't have kids. So like as parents, how do you find that balance?
It's a struggle for us too. So we told our son, hey, go play the simulator while we're on this podcast. So he's able to do that at 8. So that's good. But we try to make it fun for him too. Mm-hmm. So we have these like flashcards where he knows what a syndication is and what a SCC is. And so we try to make it fun for him. And we also want to make him feel like he's part of the business. So our plan is to make him an LP or a passive investor on our first deal. Hopefully that'll be coming soon. And then we also kind of engage him in our videos. So I just had him read this short little book about self-confidence. And I had him do a little video about it. And he was like, oh, that's cool, Mommy. You're going to put it on the site. And so all that is just, kind of including him in so he doesn't feel like we're, that he's kind of outside looking in. So that's the stuff that we try to do.
And he seems to like the spotlight. So
He does.
seen on social.
He's kind of like, hey, mommy.
And bringing him into videos and kind of quizzing him and things of that nature. So keeping him engaged, right? Got an LLC and, hey, this is yours, buddy, right? We'll be the overseers, but this is yours. So inclusivity is pretty cool, and he's starting to catch on. So when we talk about, right, apartment syndication, alternative assets and things of that nature, he doesn't be like, Dad, again. So he's embracing, he's in the discussion, and it's pretty cool to see him kind of grow off of that too. So like, son, he wants to be a commercial pilot. That's okay. You can be whatever you want to be. And you can invest in apartments and alternative assets too. He's like, he shakes his head, yes.
So far ahead as an adult.
Yeah.
You know, just because he's been exposed to these concepts.
Yeah.
And that's we're also part of Gen Fire. I'm sure you've heard of it.
Yeah. I've heard,
And so that's just, it's not all about becoming wealthy, but it's about becoming financially free to do what you want to do in life.
Yeah.
So San's daughter is interested in being she's a writer? Oh, no, an artist. An artist. One of them wants to be an artist. So do you want to be a starving artist, or do you want to be an artist that can afford to have a studio and have your artwork in a studio and bring wealthy people in to come buy your art, right? So that's as an example of having money or not having money. So the same with our son. He can either have to take a job as a pilot working tons of hours, or he can take a job working 15 hours a week, delivering organs. When from place to place to meet the surgical team, he has options, right? And then he can probably also buy his plane or be very close to buying a plane by the time he's in his early 20s.
That'd be super cool.
Right. If he starts off early. So as we start to see things come to fruition, we want to make sure that he understands the power of what we did in year 1 and then year 2 and so on.
And building off of it. So maybe you can
I
buy
think
a plane
it's good for kids to see their parents hustling too, right?
So, so he'll be our private pilot.
Doing what you love, right?
Yeah. And he can be your pilot too. We can discuss the fee later.
There you go. We'll figure it out. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
Awesome. So we talked about business versus personal time. So what's in the future for you all? Give us a little bit of hints of what you're thinking about. Are you thinking about getting in alternative asset investments, or what is it? Is it bigger buildings? Is it more general partnership roles? Just talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think we're open definitely to see what the universe brings our way. But like Ashley said, we always have a lot of irons in the fire. We're constantly submitting LOIs on real estate here in Arizona to be the main sponsorship team. So we want to grow our real estate portfolio, but we're also looking at a couple other alternative business ideas that might generate a little more cash flow. What we've seen historically is people that are doing really well in real estate have another business that they've made a lot of money in, and now they're investing in real estate. So we're looking at options there to grow our income that we can invest in real estate. And really, we think it's to make sure that we're being responsible for the projects that we're going after, right? We don't want to be in a situation where we need to be in a capital call or something like that. So we want to build kind of that reserve to make sure that we're able to cover some of the issues that might arise from being the main sponsors on a project like that. But growing our real estate portfolio is always something that we're really focused on heavily.
Awesome. Yeah, one of the things that are on our minds right now is, we're looking into a debt fund, not creating one ourselves, but investing in somebody else's, for cash flow. And we found out we can put in, thousands of dollars at a time versus hundreds of thousands at a time, right? So it makes a big difference from our perspective, right? If Melvin has a few extra thousand as he's working, he can go ahead and throw it in there. So we're looking at that. I'm pretty excited. We may pull the trigger on that. And then kind of very interested in self-storage. Yeah. But it's a whole different ball of wax. Yeah. We saw some underwriting today and listened to a few people at a conference a few weeks ago.
It's different.
And so it's very different. So we don't want to jump into something like that without really knowing and understanding the asset class. So we need to be cautious of that. But it is something that interests us. And, since we're called Get Diversified, because we're diversified as a couple, we also want to make sure that we're preaching, our message, which is get diversified with our investments as well.
Yeah.
I really think that's really, it's powerful to make sure that you're in different avenues, because you never know when a certain particular sector is going to take a dip or whatever. So I think that's a really good possible
strategy.
forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
As with economic cycles, things
That's
do
right.
take a dip. Nothing is a for sure thing, right? I mean, so
That's
That's for sure.
yeah. And I see Dwayne.
And I feel like too, what I keep seeing is it's all about knowing how to navigate whatever cycle you're in, right? So it's not about waiting. It's about being strategic and taking action based on what makes sense in the environment that you're in. And then that's the nice thing about having such a well-diversified portfolio is you are kind of set up no matter what happens.
to weather the storm. Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
right.
Absolutely.
So I know we're kind of at time, but I have one more question for these folks.
No, go ahead.
When you're looking for in putting together your general partnership team, right? You're submitting these LOIs. You obviously have to put together, your team in case it's accepted. So how do you go about deciding who you want to be part of your team?
Well, they've got to have great hair, good abs,
Good abs.
for sure. What are some
I'm
of your other
disqualified.
He's disqualified. He doesn't have hair.
Disqualified.
It's interesting you bring that up. I think there have been a lot of times in our kind of journey where we've had opportunities to join teams and we've had opportunities to work with people, and we've chosen to wait. And at the time, I think those were hard decisions to make because you're so anxious to get started and you're so anxious to get in, right? And now looking back, I feel like all the times that we said no and all the times that we chose to wait were actually really good decisions. And I look back at that and I see that was definitely God's provision for us and his protection.
Yeah.
And so I just think we try to be really thoughtful and careful.
Yeah.
And we really want to get to know people. We want to have several meals together. We want to meet their spouse. We want to, get to know them over the course of time before we work with them, because you're going to be in a long-term relationship with these people. And you just don't see those true colors sometimes until you spend more time together. So I would just say we're extremely cautious about who we partner with.
For sure.
But we're looking for track record. We're looking for skill sets that complement our skill set.
Right.
Certainly someone that sees value in what you bring to the relationship, someone you can enjoy a meal with, that you like, that you respect, that you have similar values, business philosophies.
Yeah, because when you're in a pinch or there's a tough decision to be made, we want to know that we're all going to make the same decision. And we wouldn't have to, call a vote or sue each other or anything like that on the team, right? Like, we don't want any infighting. So it's making sure that everybody has the same values on the team and we're all going in the same direction and that we're looking out for our clients, the tenants, and our investors at the end of the day. Right. And then we know if we do those things, we're going to be set up no matter what. Like people will reinvest with us. The investors will always get their money back if we have the end tenant in mind and making sure that we're taking care of our properties. So, and somebody that wants what we're offering on this particular deal. Some deals are heavier on the cash flow and somebody's like, I definitely need that. Some are on the appreciation side and you're like, that's just not for me right now. So it's really understanding your general partnership team and where they're at in their life cycle and making sure that you do have complementary skill sets. It's a lot of times when people get into the business, everybody wants to partner up. All the newbies like jump in and are like, let's underwrite together. And you're like, cool, we can share, but we can't work together, right? You know that. We need to go find complementary skill sets.
Yeah.
I think that's really
we were just having that conversation. He's like, hey, can we bring such and such in? I was like, probably not. Right. I like them, but exactly. Because you have to look at the whole picture. And I recently, heard somebody talking about their general partnership team and they weren't thoughtful in putting the team together. Everyone's like, oh yeah, we could raise capital. And then all of these folks were very top heavy when it came to asset management. Okay. Well, there's other roles that need to be played. And by the way, those syndicators didn't come through. So now you have this big team of top heavy asset management. And now what? Right. So we're very thoughtful of, when we come to our first lead GP, of being thoughtful of who our partners are and, knowing that it's a long-term relationship, because you can't mess the first one up, let alone the second or the third. But the first one's the most important, right? That's going to build your trust factor and keep those investors happy and coming back again.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, dear, final question. How can folks find you if they want to know more about Winkle Capital?
Well, they can come to my beautifully designed website at winklecapital.com. We also have a how-to guide that we offer to those who are maybe new to the industry, want to learn a little bit more about why they would choose to invest in apartments. So when you come to our website, you'll see that there is a how to invest in real estate and keep your 9 to 5 guide. I would highly recommend downloading that guide as a great place to start. You know, as we talked at the top of our time together, real estate is a really powerful tool for growing your wealth.
Yes.
But there is a misconception that you have to go all in and you have to make that your second job or your third job or your side hustle in order to be successful. And so we want to, share the good news that that's not necessarily true. And this guide is a great way to get you started.
Awesome. Go ahead, dear. You can conclude the session.
Thank you so much, you guys. We appreciated the time.
That was
an honor to be invited, and it was really fun to talk to you.
Yeah. Hey, guys. On behalf of myself and Jackie, we appreciate you guys taking time out your busy day.
Of course.
We're us hard workers, right? Who still have to kind of got to hit the grind and ensure you're getting it done for the betterment of.
This is the fun part, though.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So, hey, guys. So on behalf of us, we really appreciate you all, and thank you so much for being on our podcast show. We appreciate it.
And we'll see you soon. Kisses to you guys.
Right. You're welcome. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.